Hello class and welcome to Die Rollin. I'm the ever excitable Adam and today I'm here to talk about circuitry, which may sound like a very boring subject, but believe you me, this is quite an interesting game. So join me at the table whilst I explain how to play a little bit of setup and just generally talk to you about this game.
Circuitry, a game for 1 to 6 players. Bide your time, plan your move, unleash your strategy. Find circuit card number 1 and place it centrally, number side up, between all players. Locate circuit cards number 2 to number 7. Either shuffle and deal a single card from this selection to each player, or let players choose their own. All remaining cards from this selection are now removed entirely and remain unused for the remainder of the game. Each player now takes a pawn of the colour associated with the charge point on their circuit card. Each player now places their pawn on the associated colour node of circuit card number 1. Are now shuffled, and an additional 3 circuit cards are now dealt to each player, meaning that they should now have 4 circuit cards in hand, one of which has their charge point upon it. The remaining circuit cards are now removed entirely from the game. Place all the gold-backed mini-cards into their own deck and shuffle. Place this deck face down. Sort the green-backed mini-cards into 6 piles, with each pile consisting of the same action, and place them face up. Set the black-backed mini-charge cards face up to one side. Setup is complete. Play proceeds in turns clockwise from a designated first player. At the beginning of every turn, a player chooses 2 mini-cards of any combination. Movement and action mini-cards may be played on the turn in which they are received, or may be banked and played on a subsequent turn. There's no lower or upper limit to the number of movement or action cards that one may play during a turn. Moreover, movement and action cards can be played in any order one wishes to do so. The aim of the game is to manipulate the board in such a way that you can get your guy or gal to their node, he says. So you can somehow get to their node, get their specific charge card, which will be light blue in this instance, and then get yourself back to the master node. So at the beginning of every turn, a player chooses 2 mini cards of any combination, so that could be one of these or some of these. You ignore these for the moment. So we can grab one of these, and this helps us with our movement, and then we'll grab another one because we want to do some movement this time around. So at any time during your turn, you can play down a card, and I'm going to play down that card I just placed. So I'm going to place that like that. And then I'm going to do movement. So I'm going to play these 2 movement cards. Well, I'm going to play 1 movement card here, which will get me over here. And I'll use that one. And that goes into a discard pile there. And I'm going to hold on to that for later. Now, this black colour here, this essentially is needed to get onto the master node. So the purple player is going to hold on to this. And just play 1 blue card here to move them to the next node. Green is going to place this here, grab 2 cards. They're going to use this card and keep this for later. Now that everyone's moved off here, we flip over to reveal the master node. Rotate allows any circuit card to be rotated by 180 degrees regardless of whether it is occupied by pawns or not. So we could play that to rotate that around like so. Swap allows the player to swap any two circuit cards that make up the circuit board. The cards must stay in their original orientation and be free of pawns. So at the moment I couldn't do this, but if I had this up here, for instance, I could swap these two over and keep them exactly how they are now. Flip. Flip allows the player to flip any card over provided that it is free of pawns. The flip must occur along the longest axis of the card. Note, when circuit card number 1 becomes free of pawns, it may be flipped across either axis, the choice of which is left to the player who is the last to leave. So we might want to flip this over. Slide. Slide allows a player to slide any edge card of the circuit board along or around a single outside edge of another circuit card, provided that in so doing, the circuit board is not split into two distinct and separate regions. Pawns may occupy the card being slid. So we could slide this down here. Force. So force is where you're really going to be doing over your friends and enemies in this. So with a force card, if you play it with a colour card that matches the character you're going up against, or at least one black node, then you can force them to move one node of your choice. And if you have multiple of these, you can do it multiple times. So you could, for instance, move them up to 3 spaces if you had 3 of these cards. Portal. Portal allows a player to jump from one portal node to any other portal node. So if we had this over here, we could, and we're on there, we could jump from there to there. And you can actually force another player through a portal. If they're on a portal space, you can play that and zoom them over. Inhibit. Inhibit can be played by any player at any time, even when it's not their turn. The action card is played against a player and restricts that player's movement such that they may only move onto nodes if they have a matching coloured node or black on their movement card. In addition, an inhibited player may not use portals. The restrictions of Inhibit can be removed either by a free action card or by expending a unit of charge if one is carried. Alternatively, Inhibit expires after 3 turns, i.e. at the beginning of the 4th turn of the player who has been inhibited. The player is now free. Free! Free removes the restrictions imposed by Inhibit. Exchange. Exchange allows a player to take 1 unit of charge from an opponent's charge pawn, provided that they occupy adjacent nodes. The opponent's pawn effectively acts as a charge point. To gain a charge, you have to play a movement card that matches the colour of your pawn or a black one. So if I played this, I could move onto here, I gain the charge card, and then I move back here. To win the game, I would have to get back onto this node here by playing a black card. So to win this game, I'd just have to play a blue and a black card. Blue, any colour could move me there, and then a black card to deliver the charge into the master node.
Welcome. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I just had something in my throat there. Thank you for watching that quick how to play video and setup instruction kind of stuff. Hopefully that was informative for you guys to have a general idea of how this game plays. So Circuitry is a game I have played solo, and I've played with a couple of people at a board game cafe. Now, this is going to be a game that infuriates people. This is because you can really mess up people's plans. This is a puzzle game, which on the surface looks like it's going to be fairly simple to kind of get from point A to point B. Well, sure is, unless you're playing with people who are actively working against you at every turn. So when I played this, I had people swapping tiles around, flipping them, rotating stuff. I'd be like 1 step away from finally getting to that node and getting a charge, and then, oh no, my node's been flipped and it's been moved around, and oh wait, I can't reverse that because all the cards have gone into the discard pile. Now, infuriating sounds like something would be quite a negative thing for a board game. However, this is infuriating in a good way. I have played this about 4 times now, different groups, and like I said, played solo a couple of times. Solo isn't as infuriating, you're just more angry at yourself and not really being able to figure out the puzzles. But when you're playing with different people, this is a great game that really does make you laugh. At the misfortune of yourself and others. I can see people playing this game and getting annoyed at it because they're fed up of not quite getting to where they need to get to, or someone like seemingly bullying them or picking on them. But yeah, it's a game that if it's taken in light jest for what it is, then it's not something that you're going to come away from really angry about. You might build grudges, sure, but most games have that, I guess. So yeah, it's infuriating in a good way. It's infuriating in the sense that you'll just have this plan out in your head and then someone will screw you over, but you don't really get too angry about it. You'll be a bit miffed. There's a bit of miffedness in there, but you're not going to go away going, oh, that was the worst experience of my life. So it's a very easy game to learn. It's got a lot of replayability in there. There is up to 6 players for this game, which I would love to play 6 player because I imagine that would be madness. I found this game taking around 2 players around 20 to 25 minutes. One game took like 10 minutes, but you're looking around 20 to 25 minutes. 4 players can take, depending on who you're playing with. I've played this for about 45 minutes to an hour, and it was really fun. Is this a game that you should pick up? Well, if you are liking puzzle games, then this is definitely something you should have a look at. I haven't got anything like this in my collection, and normally when I'm saying buy, play, or avoid, I think about my own collection, which is behind me here, and trying to think about what games I would like in my collection. And Circuitry is quite an interesting game because I don't really have many puzzle games, if any, in my collection, and it's not something that I would really go out my way to check out, if I'm honest. However, sitting down and playing this has been an absolute delight. It's been really fun. It's been really easy to teach, and I've also been able to introduce my kids to some of the concepts as well. We've not quite played a game yet with the kids. I will probably be playing that with my eldest at some point, not too far away. But yeah, this is a really fun game, which I think that it's something that I would definitely get for my collection because I don't own anything like this, and it's a game that you can get out with non-gamers, and by non-gamers, everyone's a gamer. I mean, you just have different levels of gaming knowledge, but by non-gamers, I'm more talking about more casual players who aren't really going to be sitting down and playing Nemesis, for instance, or the other Nemesis I have over here. So either in my Nemesis games or Feudum up there. They're not going to be playing those games. They're going to be wanting something a bit light, but still, you want to play something which is a bit has a bit of strategy in there. There's not much luck involved, and this is a game which there isn't really any luck in this. This is essentially you have a bit of a luck of a draw for which coloured node cards you get out, but overall you can adapt your strategy to what is coming out with those various different action cards to flip the tiles around, move them around, and yeah, so there's a lot going on for this. So is this a buy, play, or avoid? So for me, I would say this is definitely a buy. It's a really small packet, so this is like a lunchbox game. You could definitely, if you get back to going into office hours, things like that, meeting up with people in the office, this is definitely one you can get out for lunchtime and really kind of fry your brains trying to outmaneuver each other in this. It's also a game that you can play at Board Game Cafe and play with, like I say, non kind of more casual gamers, but this is also a game you could get out with somebody who is up for playing something like Feudum or Village Attacks or something a bit heavier, and still have a really good time with it. So I highly recommend checking out Circuitry. If this is something that is right up your alley, then take a look because it is fun, it's unique, and it is fast to learn, which, for any game, being able to teach it and learn it really quickly is a bonus. Like if I sat down to play this with Jamie, I think I'd be able to explain the rules to him before his face had glazed over with his, oh my god, I need to play it to learn it kind of expression. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you've liked this, then please leave comments below. We'd love to talk to you guys and find out what your thoughts are on this game. And if there's any questions you have about this game, then of course, leave questions below and I'll get back to you. This will be on Kickstarter in the not too distant future, so keep an eye out for that. We'll be posting up on our Instagram to go, hey guys, the Kickstarter's live. so you can take a look. We were sent a review copy of this, and we're sent lots of review copies these days, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're very biased towards them. We do give a honest opinion of how we felt these games play. And honestly, this was a game that I enjoyed, I would play again, and I'm looking forward to playing again, especially with my kids and seeing how they get on with it. So until next time, guys, you can find us on our different social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. And you stay safe and keep rolling.